Hey, Okay, so it's your Taylor here, looking kind of crazy, but it's okay because it's Sunday. Okay,
You cute.
so, and friend, my closest friend, my biggest motivator and cheerleader in the whole wide world, um, Queen. Okay, Queen is like the ace boon coon of mothers. She's like creme de la creme of momhood. Okay, because it's like not too many women I can say are truly like a passionate mother and truly take being a mother this serious. And also being a good friend, like genuinely a good friend, hard worker. Anything you do, anything she does, she gives it her best effort. So that is just my little tidbit about Queen. Thank you so much, Queen, for
I struggle sometimes though.
I mean, we all do. That's what it's all about. A little bit, but that's okay. So, welcome to You Good, everyone. So basically, this podcast is a safe space for kind of talk about topics that they may deem relatable to other people, or something feel like other people may need, somebody to talk about. Maybe strength to talk about these topics, or even to have us we may not feel like we have a safe space to be able to discuss these things, and I'm trying to offer that safe space for any and everyone, regardless of what people may say, they may judge. I'm open to it all. I'm open to hearing everybody's experience. So that is a little tip. I like to do that in the beginning, get it out the way so people know what they're listening to. But yeah, so Queen, what's up? I know he's got the phone, but
I know, right?
all right, we
We've
had
been
a whole
talking all
podcast.
week, honestly.
We had a whole podcast before the podcast. But yeah. So how are you? Like, how are
um,
you? Are you good? Like, let's talk about it for real.
some days I'm good, some days I'm not. But for the most part, I feel like I do my best and I put my best forward. And we all know how that goes. Everybody had
Yeah.
good days, everybody had bad days.
Yeah. No, facts. But I think the important thing is, regardless of like if you having good or bad days, like just acknowledging the good and acknowledging the bad.
And
Because
being
I
able to
struggle
work,
with that.
yeah.
Yeah, girl, that's the
And being
truth.
able to work through it is probably one of the hardest to do it in any situation. You know,
Yeah,
we fight and struggle every day, good or bad.
facts. The thing that's important, regardless of if it's a good day or a bad day, is just knowing that even if it's a good day, just know it. Don't you know what I'm saying? Don't be so upset. I used to be one of those people. If I was in a really good space, things were going really good, would I would just start thinking about everything that can go wrong. So then I'm preparing myself for the other. Like I'm just like, oh, if I don't expect anything good, then I won't be let down when bad happens. But I remember, like, I forgot who it was that told me this, but they were basically saying like that's an effective way to think, because then you are not going to ever truly enjoy any moment that you may have that's truly good.
I totally agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So, okay, so basically I wanted this episode to be about motherhood, like single parenthood, just like dealing with everything that comes with that, being a mom, because like I consider you like to be the mom extraordinaire. Like it doesn't, like you're like top of the line mom for me. So I was like, okay, well, I want this episode for mothers out there, because even though I may not be a single mom anymore, I definitely did it for 10 years. So I can relate to that struggle. But so Kui, what like the biggest hardship when it comes to being a single mom? And then what is one thing that you consider to be like the greatest, like the silver lining in being a single mother?
So I'm going to silver lining. I have had so many ups with being a mom throughout my situations that I've already experienced, but having the hands-on with my son has been one of the greatest aspects, or the greatest experience of my life. Like, some days I think that it's harder than, but most days are great. It's the confidence that I instill in my son. It's seeing how he has grown. Watching him establish himself at such a young age, and being the person that is that single mom, knowing that I am instilling that into him and watching him use that with his everyday life is the biggest accomplishment of it all. Now, being a single mom, yes, I definitely wish that he had that other parent in the household. Um, I struggle with that, but that's my struggle and not his. So I kind of use that
What do you
in
feel
our
like is the struggle though? Like which like like what do you feel like the benefit is in having two parents in a household? Because I feel like a lot of women, we are always like, damn, I wish she had her father in her life or he had his father in his life. But it's like, okay, well, what's our reasoning?
I don't have an answer to that though.
Because
That's
I know I
crazy.
thought about it when I was single. When I was a single mom, I thought about it a lot. I'm like,
I've never
why
heard it.
do
I've never heard it asked in that way. So it's like, okay, had it been asked a different way, I might have been able to answer it. But now when you
yeah.
say it like that, I don't have an answer for that. I've never thought about it in that way.
Yeah, no, nobody does. Because we always think like you know what I'm saying, a two parent ever ask like, is it like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why? Why do we want two parents? You know, like I get it, like having the man in the household brings the balance, to our nurturing. Like you don't want a child that's only nurtured and hasn't, sorry about my Chase cheating. Who is pissing him off? I can't even whistle. Chase. But balance in a household where, I mean, I get it. Moms are super nurturing. We're super understanding. And, we're always present for our children. And men bring like the protection. They bring I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Men bring balance. Like we nurture, and then they're more logical things. Discipline, like the stability of it, but women can offer that as well. Like we've been doing it for
And
so
I think
long.
that we discredit ourselves for being able to bring that to the table, or being
Mm-hmm.
able to give our children that benefit from. I think a lot of times, like, we don't give ourselves enough credit for what we do as a mother, and we try to establish this this lining, like, this is what a father can do and this is what a mother can do. I feel like it's a lot of questions. Like, some fathers can bring the same thing that mothers bring too. You know what I'm saying? They can give that nurturing. They can give that too. They have that capability. And a lot of them are like that. A lot of them. And we don't give them credit for that.
Yeah, I agree. It's not even just about being a single mother, but I also feel like, because I know some single dads too. And hoping I can get this other guest to come on and talk about being like a single father. He's co-parenting, but that's not always the case. There's some dads out here that have custody of their children and the mom is, or passed on, made unalive, so it's like being not even just a single mom. It's like I think it's important though to, obviously, I'm not discrediting that we should have because they are important, but I think in being a single parent, I don't feel like when I was a single parent, I was giving myself enough credit. I felt like I was so focused on, she need her dad, until one day I decided, well, why? And then once I decided, like, why do she need her dad? Like, if he was as involved in her life at that time period when, he was going through, I don't think it would have been beneficial to her. It would have did more damage than good if he had actually been involved in her life during that time period,
Yeah.
But I mean, I get it though, 100%. important to have dads in your life, But yeah, that's a toughie. Like I know I grew up by being raised by my grandma, you know that. But I did have a woman and a man in the house, but I feel like some days the man in the house did more damage, which can be the same for women, but yeah.
And
So
then
okay. Oh, go
one
ahead.
of
What was you gonna say?
one of the things that I did the most is like I kind of fought for the two parent household, and at the moment I was doing more damage because I was fighting for something that wasn't meant to be.
Wow. So what do you feel like was the indication that you needed to like let it go? Like you just that thought process of trying to create this two-parent household and this co-parenting relationship.
But even co-parenting became hard. I was dealing with someone who wanted to be there but didn't want to be there or didn't know how to be there. And it's not to discredit him of loving his children, because he
Right.
definitely did that. He didn't understand love or how to love correctly. Saying he did nothing that was damaging to our children. It's just that he was dealing with a lot of things, and a lot of times we don't acknowledge that there are men and not men, but men and women who deal with things mentally, are still going through things mentally that can stop them from being the parent that they can be.
And
And
do you feel like cause like we when we're co-parenting, we try to fight that urge that they don't really care. You know what I'm saying? But do you feel like sometimes we could have, you know what I'm saying, somebody who's not ready to be present as a parent? Do you feel like cuz like I don't know, like it's like I want to put up the fight to try to help not force you, but to an active parent because obviously it's going to benefit my kid. To force you know what I'm saying, to be a part of this child's life, and then you, like I said, you damage. But do you feel like in some circumstances, or have you seen situations where people have actually won that battle?
yes,
You have. Oh crap! Okay. Shout out to them because I gave up. I shouldn't have gave up possibly, huh? But yeah. Mm. I just mm. I you knew when to give up though. But like, do you feel like you're completely giving up, or do you feel like later down the road, possibly when he's ready, to
I feel like
actually
we can revisit it at the appropriate time.
the timing is right, basically. Yeah. So being a single mother, I got another question for you. Being a single mother
Well, you love
or
this,
being
ain't you?
yeah, listen, I get to ask all the questions because I like asking questions because then it helps me, later down the road. If I come into a situation where I need, guidance, I could look back on this conversation and truly gain, you know what I'm saying, insight from it. But being a single mom, do you feel like you're because you have a son, my godson. Being a single mom, do you feel like you're bringing balance to him? Like, even though he's a boy?
Some days, not all days. Um,
Knowing that some days you can't bring that perfect balance.
it's a struggle, and it makes me revert backwards. But that's not the goal. The goal is to continue to move forward. So even though I may feel that some days, the goal is not to move backwards; it's to move forward. So any day that I can do anything to help him or help myself, or even with him, he helps me. He helps
Wow.
me get through those situations. So even
Yeah.
when I feel like I can't do it, I'm very thankful and grateful for the fact that I do have him to be able to help me or help us get over that hurdle.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. Yeah. You are so strong. Oh my gosh, you are so strong. I love it. You're strong. So I like you're so strong. Like I can't even begin to put into words how strong you are because girl, I I remember when Ayana was like 4. She's like 3. I remember like one night I had got out the shower. I had went into my room and I think she had it her school. She was like in like second or third grade. Her school was having like this chili cook off or whatever. Girl, I cried boohoo tears because I'm like, damn, like or and then it was like right after we had a play date with like this girl in her school and like the dad came and I felt bad because I'm like here with this dad and I'm just like, well, it's just me. So when you have those feelings of, like you said, when you have those feelings of feeling inadequate for your son, not being able to bring that balance, son or daughter, but not being able to bring that balance, you basically keep pushing forward because how do you those feelings? Like I know you have to because of him, but what are some things that you do to take care of yourself? To keep your head on straight.
Prayer first and foremost. A lot of prayer. A lot of prayer.
Preacher.
A lot of things that helps me is that my kid, he's grateful. He's
Yeah.
grateful in the most humblest way. And I couldn't ask for anything better than that. I can cry about the situation, but he makes it better every single day. And it's his humbleness. It's like, hey, mommy, I love you. Hey, mommy, you're doing an awesome job. Nothing he's being taught, but for him to even come to me and say, hey, mom, you're doing an awesome job, it makes me know that, hey, you may be struggling here, but it doesn't mean that you can't find balance in your life or you can't get this. He'll tell me all the time, like, mom, you're beautiful. Mom, you're so pretty. Mom, I love your hair. I could put one braid in my hair and my baby be like, mommy, I love it. That's what you do. And it's like, okay, that's the thing that keeps me going. That's the thing.
Him.
Now,
Just
what
him
I
as a
do for
kid.
myself is I take in his humbleness and I insert that in my life. Because how can this child that I am raising have this much humbleness or this much assertiveness, I can't even get the goddamn word out.
Girl, you
But
good. Because I couldn't
how
say it either.
can
I've been
he
drinking.
have this much knowledge to be able to tell me, hey, mom, you got it, for me not to put that into me, to myself? So I benefit from him. I take from him what he gives out, I insert into myself. And then when I insert it into myself, I give it back to him. So now here we go. We 100 with
Yeah.
this.
Pouring back into each other, back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're
So
not
I
used
was
to
on. No. Yeah, when you're a single mom, it's hard because when you don't have a child that does that, because a lot of times we feel so unappreciated. I remember feeling that. I remember feeling that towards the end of me being a single mom. I remember feeling so unappreciated because Ayana was so young. She didn't know how to truly appreciate me. It's different having girls. They just like, hey girl, I want this. I want that. She don't call me beautiful. She wake up in the morning like, oh, your breath stank. Like it was not the same as having a son. So like unappreciated. Like I used to feel like, dang, am I like, does she even care that I'm really giving my all? Like I was on Facebook or Instagram, one of them social media sites recently, and I saw a video of a young girl. She had just had a baby, and overwhelmed, and the baby was crying. Maybe the baby had colic. I really don't know all the specifics, but she ran up to the baby's crib, yelling at the baby, saying, "Shut up, stop crying,"
and
and
was
shook
shaking
the.
it, and she was shaking the crib. Yep, I saw it.
Yeah, it's like, but for me, I'm like, a lot of people were like hanging up on her, dogging her out, and I'm like, I wouldn't do it, but
you wouldn't necessarily do that, but you've been in that moment where you've been frustrated and overwhelmed. We all have. I'm not even sitting here and trying to make shit. I get frustrated every day with my kid, and I can say all these beautiful things about him, but it is so many times that I am so frustrated and over the top where it's like, God, it's been times I've yelled at my baby and I've had to sit back and I'll be like, he didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
But because I was so overwhelmed, I put that on him.
Yeah. How, and do you apologize to him? Because
Yeah,
I
I
remember us
definitely do.
talking about that. Talking
I
about
definitely
like
do.
parents not apologizing to their kids, you know?
I definitely do.
And I remember, saying to you,
I
like,
don't always apologize right away. Sometimes I have to
mhm,
sit back and I have to rethink what happened. I have to go over what happened. I have to understand my frustration. It
yeah. But that
one
take a
day at a
lot though.
time. One of my quotes is one day at a time.
Yeah. I remember
One
you
day
saying
at
that to me
a
the other
time.
day when I called you crying my eyes out because I was frustrated with nursing school. Girl, it's getting the best of me. I'm over it. We ain't even gonna talk about that. But Zoe frustrates me a lot of times too, and I even have her dad, and she still frustrates me, But in that video, I just saw so much frustration. I saw so much hurt, because she didn't know what to do. She didn't have help. For me, it blew my mind that all these people are jumping on her, dogging her out, but nobody's acknowledging that somebody's recording her and not
Who could have
helping.
helped her? So you chose to record it instead of helping her. Even if you didn't help her, you didn't help that baby. You
You
helped
didn't help
no
the
one.
baby. You
You
have
you
nobody. You just stood
literally
there.
sat there and recorded.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand our generation. Like, I don't
I don't
understand these.
understand why the first instinct is to pull a
It's to
camera out rather
record.
than help a situation.
Now, I get it. In some situations, you don't want to get involved, like domestic. You know what I'm saying? Domestic disputes. You don't want to get in the middle of that because you sometimes you really don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like if they love this person and he, you know what I'm saying, choking her out, I don't think it's really a good idea that I go over there trying to jump in that. And I'm only 5 until next week. I'm not gonna do that, but I will call the police. I'm not gonna record. If I record for proof, you know what I'm saying. But I'm not going to just record right off the bat. I get why maybe they recorded. Maybe they was trying to get proof of her. You know what I'm saying? Losing her mind. Maybe it was the dad. Maybe you know what I'm saying. I don't really know what their reasoning was behind just recording. Maybe they did call the police. But I just feel like it's so many different ways y'all could have handled that. Y'all could have walked up to the crib, got the baby, walked out the room with the baby. Yeah, that was hard to watch. I that was hard to watch because I felt where she was coming from. I could feel like I don't know why maybe it's because I'm
And then
empath,
a
but
lot
I
of things that's not one of the things that's not talked about is postpartum depression. People don't talk about that
acknowledge
enough.
it. We
It's
all try to act like
not
we ain't never have it. Nobody had it. That's not a thing. Nobody had it.
like no, postpartum depression is real. It's real. It is
Mhm.
extremely real. With my last kid, I've never experienced it with any of my kids, but well, the first two. I experienced it with the last one. And it was such a benefit. Somebody who came over there literally every single day and would take my baby and be like, go take a shower. And didn't even know that or how many times I was crying. And it wasn't no frustration with my kid. It was
Nope.
just I was just dealing with something emotionally, internally. And to have that person that was doing that for me, it meant the world to me. Because it was
Yeah.
like, take this break, take this breather. And
That's
I've
beautiful.
never even understood postpartum depression until I
Yeah.
experienced that.
A lot of people don't, and they don't even bother trying to figure it out. And like, I encourage anybody that watches this podcast or that listens to this podcast, if any of your friends have just had a baby, if you're significant, the men, because the men go through
Men
postpartum
go
too.
through it
No,
too, and people don't
nobody
acknowledge
wants to
that either.
acknowledge that. I mean, yes, women, we go through it, and we go through it harder because of the fact that we just delivered a baby. Our hormones dropped from here to here within seconds of giving birth to a baby. You know what I'm saying? You got all these hormones being pushed out, you know what I'm saying, to support you carrying this baby, and then all of a sudden it just stops. That's like, so from what I learned from nursing school. So a hysterectomy, right? So a hysterectomy is when they remove the uterus from a woman, right? But the reason why they call it a hysterectomy is because when women used to get their uterus removed back in the day and they were not put on something to stabilize them, they would go hysterical. they would lose their mind in mental health facilities because of the fact that their hormones dropped so tremendously and their body couldn't handle it. So they would go hysterical, which is why they call it hysteria. I'm saying that to say that when we give birth, we have so many. I used to cry. I didn't know why. I'm like, why am I crying? Why am I sad? I should be okay. And when I gave birth to Zoe, I was in the process of planning the wedding. I was in nursing school. It was a lot going on in the process.
It
I
was
moved
a
to
lot
California.
happening. Yeah.
And I sometimes guess Simon wasn't involved, that he was there, but because he was battling with his own postpartum, he could not be as present for me as it would have been. So for all the people that have a friend that just had a baby, I encourage you, if they just had a child, check on them, call them,
Please.
do what Quee just said. Like, go over there, say, hey, I'm going to hold your baby for a shower, go get you something to eat, take a walk, encourage them to just go outside and take a walk by themselves. I promise you, if you just do that once within a month, you will have.
It makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. A huge difference.
And I remember I saw a post on Facebook too. It was like this friend group. Their friend was pregnant. They all went over to the house and they helped up all the clothes. They hope they're put up all the stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have these baby showers, but then what about after she get all that stuff home? She pregnant, she tired, she might be nauseous. She don't feel like hanging up all this stuff. But I'm so happy because in my situation, I just made Ayana do it. But what if you don't have what if you don't have, you know what I'm saying, that support system? Remember we was talking about community.
Right.
That's where community comes in.
Thank God for the support system that I do. I do have. I have amazing support. Amazing. From family to friends. Like, I have an amazing support system. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, truly, you really do.
Amazing. Like, they deserve a Grammy Award for how amazing they is, okay?
So what would you say to the women out there that don't have that community? Like, do you know, like, how do you find that community? Where do you find community if it's not family? With Ayana and delivering her and going through everything I went through, thank God her side of the family was truly present, because for a while I felt very alone. But then after I left him and, I moved out on my own, I felt alone again, I feel like I had community, but not realizing, I've still had my sisters and stuff like that, but I didn't want to rely on them, so it's like, if you feel like you don't have that community, what is your advice to those women that may not have a sister or a cousin or an auntie or a mom, or a dad to help them?
Random conversations, honestly. Sometimes you will, I don't want to say random conversations because so many people are not good, but there are so many good people out here where you can start and have a random conversation with, and that can become your support system. You know what I'm saying?
Striking up conversations.
It is just striking up a conversation. There are major groups out here, especially if you live in Michigan. I follow a lot of them. Parenting in Poverty. If y'all have never followed it, please follow them. They are amazing support. Amazing support. I've seen so many young ladies, grown adults, from this group. But it's resources out here. You're not alone, and please don't ever think that you are alone. There is somebody else who is going through your situation, and both of y'all can bond together and make a situation become everything.
That is so true. That is so true.
Out here, I literally, so a lot of my friends don't have kids.
Yeah, me too.
They don't have kids my kids age. Now he got his cousins. Don't get me wrong. He got a little cousins.
He got a lot of cousins.
He got a lot of cousins. But what about that friend that you can sit back and be like, hey, I just want to talk about my kid? Because sometimes when I go around my friends, they don't want to talk about my kid all the time. But I might want to talk about my kid. So
that's safe children, because you don't want to be that one friend that's talking about their kids.
Yeah, and then everybody side you like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
and
I
then
don't want no kids, girl.
yeah, but I like having. I recently met someone. Um, she has a son that's the same age as my son.
How
They
did you meet
play
her?
extremely well, huh?
How did you meet her?
Over my house from my dad's side. I met her over my
Okay.
house from my dad's side, and she
Okay.
has a son that's the same age as my son. And
Mm-hmm.
every the 4 times that we've been together or we've been around each other, they
Mm-hmm.
literally play so well. Like we text
I
each
love
other
that.
New Year's Day, Christmas Day. Hey girl, how you doing? Oh, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. Now we have not gotten together to do anything, but we definitely make sure that we always reach out to each other whenever it's something. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, she works at a library, so she's reached out to me like, hey, they got story time. You want to come and join us? And it's those little things that help build confidence or help build
Yeah.
relationships where you can build a resourceful
Community.
relationship with people.
hmm Because, like, yeah, like I remember. So that's the beautiful thing about social media. Like, it gives us that option to find community. Like, I'm pretty sure for any woman out there that, or any man, because there's dad groups too. I'm not gonna
Yes,
forget
come
my
on,
man.
dads.
Listen, it's dad groups out here for single dads, for dads, because like that's the thing. I feel like a lot of times men who and they're co-parenting I want to get my kid this weekend. I want to go to the club. I want to do this. I want to do that. It's because a lot of times they don't know what to do with this kid, especially if it's a girl. It's like, what do I do? Find you a dad in a dad group that got a daughter around the same age as you, and y'all go do some dad shit together, okay? Because I promise you, like, I remember thinking, like, oh my God, I got this baby. I can't go out hang out with my friends with my kid. They don't want to meet me at the zoo. They don't want to go meet me at the zoo.
and
You know,
and
like
I
now
get
my
it,
friends with
and
kids.
but I also understand the concept of opening yourself up because trust is such a big issue right now. Trust is a major issue right now. So I get that opening up and trying to build those relationships, it does become a really really big a thin line between can I trust you, can I fuck with you, and
Mhm.
especially with my kid,
Yeah.
it's hard, and I get it, but there are good people out there. There are good people who is willing to build bonds with you, who can be your support. There are amazing people out here, amazing people.
Yeah. And I have another question for you. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But so obviously being a mother requires strength. It requires being a nurturer. And it requires you to be understanding. You know what I'm saying? Have patience, right? But what happens when all of that is not enough? You know, when you're down to this much, you know, you got this much left in you. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Because me personally, what I do, nothing left in the tank. I'm like, all right, I'm about to go and drive to Nevada and not come back. What I do to prevent myself from going to Nevada and starting a new life is I'll treat myself. I'll treat myself, and what I used to do with Ayana, because with Zoe is a little different, you know. I can go toss her in the room with her daddy and run out real fast. You know what I'm saying? Close the door. But with Ayana, it was just us. So I would call up her. I always think I was crazy because I used to keep kids at my house. But that's why I was always getting bug. I'm like, Bug want to come over? I'm having a sleepover. Because what I
And
used to do
remember
is
that, look.
I used to throw them all in the room, give them snacks, music, TV, let them have a good time. Sometimes I go in there and have a good time with them too, because then that helps me de-stress, you know. But a lot of times I would keep friends at my house and kids at my house to give me a break, you know, to give me a break, because I don't think why sometimes we at our wits end with our kids because they stressing us out is because of the fact that they're stressed out. You know what I'm saying? They're bored. Like Zoe will just throw
I
herself
like
on the
what you just
ground
said, though.
and
I like what
cry.
you just said. You said
What
that
part?
you said that they are stressed out. We don't acknowledge that.
Yeah, they be stressed
We
out.
don't. But as I'm telling you, as parents, we don't acknowledge the fact that our kids are stressed out too. How
We
is it
just say that
okay
they acting
for
up.
us? It's just like saying that it's okay for us to acknowledge the feelings that we're sad or we're upset. Something is bothering us, but then there's moments where we don't accept the fact that kids are upset, they're bothered, something is stressing them out. Like, okay, I get it. They ain't really got much to stress about, but damn it, they got some shit that they be stressed about. It might be a
Yeah.
toy, it might be a TV, but it's theirs. You
It's
understand?
their
Like,
small world of stress.
it's
Yeah.
theirs. It's theirs. It's their world. They're not experiencing life the way that we are experiencing life. Yeah, we stressed out
Yeah.
about bills and shit. Shit, they stressed about because the TV show didn't come on. That's their stress. They are allowed that. They are allowed to feel. And we don't give
Yeah.
kids enough room to feel.
Yeah, girl. Because I promise you, one time I remember his dad telling me like, "You too soft on her. You need to, you need to get on her ass. You need to." And I'm because in Clinton Township, when she first went into, I think it was fifth grade. It was fifth grade, third grade, third grade. All the times out there with little babies. Third grade is the hardest year to get through. And then it goes fifth and sixth, back to back. You hit with a bow bow. You know what I'm saying? Because in third grade, they're trying to get them prepared for elementary. Then fifth grade, they're trying to prepare them for middle school. And then sixth grade, they're trying to prepare them for middle school. And then eighth grade, they're going to prepare them from high school. Then ninth grade, and you're just going to be stressed out, all the way up until third grade. So enjoy it up until third grade. But I remember when she was in like third grade, her dad saying I was being too soft on her. Oh, you need to get on her ass. She ain't doing good in school. I'm like, bro, she's stressed. She ain't never been in third grade before.
Right.
Like, this is new to her. When we moved here to
Exactly.
California,
Life is new to them all. Everything that they are experiencing is all
is
new to
new.
them. So for
Yeah.
us, yes, we've experienced it. So now we're able to talk about it. But guess what? Life is new for them. This is a new journey for them. Every day that they get up and they experience something different than their everyday daily life, that's new to them. And it may stress them out. So
But
yes.
don't nobody ever want to discuss that part of it. Like, we just think they need to, like we need to just be harder on them. And I explained to him, I'm like, I'm not gonna be harder on her. I'm not gonna stress her out even more because this is all new. Like, if anybody who does watch my podcast and listen to my podcast, they know that Ayana was my first episode. And she did here, she cried because the move stressed her out. And going to this new school in California stressed her out. And she was struggling to with this new life, not being able to see family. And then she got me on her back about school. And because she switched gyms and gymnastics, she got demoted and she has to start over her whole journey. And all of that was coming at her fast. And then I remember yelling at her, screaming at her, Ayana, do your homework. Why aren't you turning in your homework? I'm going in. I'm like, you about to move with your daddy. I'm done. You going back to Detroit. And then one day it just clicked. Sis, chill. She just went through a very traumatic experience.
Traumatic change.
She got ripped, and like, what? So, and I don't hate very frequently, but I hate as single mothers, we offer more understanding to the men that we're and the men that
Then
we're,
we do our
you know what
own
I'm saying?
kids.
We do our own kids. We don't got no understanding why you ain't do your homework, why you ain't do this, why you ain't clean that bathroom like I told you to. But if we go to our man and say, go clean the bathroom, and he don't go clean it, why you ain't clean the
Or he ain't take
bathroom?
the
Like,
trash out. Or he
he ain't
stayed
take the
out late.
trash out.
Oh, and he
He
came
stayed
home
out
with
late.
excuse. I'm more understanding than I am to my own child. And what? No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. Girl, that's a whole conversation for another day, though, because I
A
promise
whole
you.
conversation for another day.
Because I ain't even ready to talk about men, girl.
Well, girl, I almost look.
Don't get me
I said I
started,
was
boo.
gonna do it on camera.
I said I was going to act on the scale.
Don't make me.
Oh, my God. But yeah. Yeah. I hate that, though. It really bothers me. Oop.
How
What were you going to say?
I was gonna talk about dialogue.
So, what you mean dialogue? Oh, like
keeping an open dialogue with your child, making them feel comfortable as far as like talking to you, understanding you, so that not even when things are going bad, you all are able to have the conversation of, hey, this is where I went wrong, this is where I went wrong. I'm talking about this is where I went wrong as a parent, this is where I went wrong as a child, or just having that open dialogue to be able to have that open communication. So when you feel like it's something you're going through, you're able to come and talk to me.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a new thing, I feel like that's new. That's like a new thing that us parents that are raising our children currently, like before me and you, that was not a thing. Girl,
Yeah.
Talk about what I gotta talk to you about nothing. Stay in a kid's place, be a kid.
But how does that affect you? How has that had an effect on you growing
Has it had
up
an effect
and
on me?
becoming an adult of not having that open dialogue?
Girl, yes. It made me a terrible communicator. And
Like the words you use.
I've
Love the
seen
words you
it
use.
with my own family's kids, that their children are terrible communicators, and they grow up from being kids that are terrible communicators to adults that are terrible communicators. And you know what that affects? Their relationships, their love, their platonic and romantic relationships. That's the reason why you ain't got no friends. That's why you can't keep a man, because you don't know how to effectively communicate. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about y'all, I'm talking about myself too. I
I was just
struggle.
going to ask you, do you feel like that's a part? Because I feel like one of the things that's wrong with me is that I have never learned how to effectively communicate. But it is definitely one of the things that I am working with my child.
But you working with it on him, it's helping you.
If I'm doing a good job with that shit, okay? But I'm trying my best.
You trying, yeah.
I'm trying my best. I don't know if I'm effectively communicating with him or if I'm even keeping that open dialogue with him. Like, okay, so one of the things I teach my kid, now, this may go all over, but like, okay, if he's in the shower or he's in a bath or whatever, you wash yourself up. You fall. You know what you're doing. I might come behind you and wash you up. But I always tell my son, and the way that I teach him is that this and everything else. I was getting a phone call. But I teach my kid, like, this all belongs to you. And even at any point that you feel like you're uncomfortable with me coming in the bathroom with you or washing your behind or something, say that to me. I want you to always be able to tell me that you are uncomfortable. And that does not go for just anybody, but me. Tell me. I want you to communicate that with me. I want you to communicate everything with me.
Because we always want them to communicate what's going on with other people. Like, oh, tell me if anybody touches you inappropriately. But we never apply it to ourselves. Like, stepping over your boundaries. Let me know what your boundaries are.
Tell me that, hey, mommy, I don't want you in the bathroom with me no more. Yes, you're 4. You may need some assistance, baby. But if you feel like you don't want my assistance, say that. I want you to communicate that. I want you to always be able to communicate whatever you feel like is. I don't care who, when, where, or why. If it ain't okay, it ain't okay. You said no, and no means no.
Yeah.
No matter how you say
no
it, no matter how you try to pursue, I don't care. I want my kid to always be comfortable enough with his.
So do you feel like we have to draw a line though with like how open we are with communication? Because like I know with Ayana, I would often people would say I would overshare. Like if something didn't work out, like if I was dating a guy and I knew he was gonna, I would be honest about what happened. Like obviously I didn't date that many guys that she met, but with Desmond, because that was my ex,
Right.
I was open and honest about what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like what was going on, because I didn't want her confused. But she was so, but I feel like people don't give children enough credit to be able to understand what's going on. They're not
Facts.
stupid.
And a lot of
So,
times you don't know that kids are paying attention to a lot more than what you are even talking to them. So then it becomes a fact. If I didn't tell you the truth, now you think that I've lied to you.
and now you
That
don't
builds
trust
a
me.
whole. Now you don't trust me, and that builds a whole nother situation.
Girl, ain't that the truth? So I just know, I just always honest with her. Always talking to her about, what's going on, what am I doing? If I was going out to the club, I'm like, oh, I'm going out for some drinks with the girls. Like, I get that, you don't want your kids to be exposed to everything. But I remember my very good friend, her mom one time said to us, like, hey, when you guys are old enough to drink, I want your first drink to be with me, because I want when you get that first drink, you need to know how to react in a situation. She was the first to go out to the club with us for real, show us how to behave in that setting. You know what I'm saying? Show us how to behave when we're drinking. Like, and I feel like you got to find that gray area of not being their friend too much, but
But
also
being
not being understanding to their process of growing up.
exactly, I agree with that 100%.
Like a lot, and I'm about to trigger some people. So I know how y'all like to tussle. When y'all view this video, don't be trying to tussle in the comments. Regardless of their age, we need to knock before we go into our children's rooms. And hear me out. The reason why I say we need to knock before we go in is because children like to touch themselves. And that's okay because it's theirs. A lot of people, they're going to want to. I'm just saying that if we stop them from exploring, exploring themselves and things like that, them touching their, I listen, I already know. Look, they ready to tussle with me already.
No, they ready to tussle.
They ready to tussle.
Okay.
I'm not trying to fight. I'm just
Not
saying.
Jaleesa. I'm sick of her. She the first one.
She said, sis, what? I'm just saying, Gigi, listen. We need, because you gotta understand this.
You talking to the right one.
Regardless of and this ruffle some feathers, 3, 5, 7, 9, 12, 14, 18, knock on their door, because we don't know what's at in their exploration of themselves. And I feel like because the generation before us never talked about sex, we don't talk about sex. Some people some women in this world still have not got a mirror, and some women haven't even did that. They know what it look like down there. And that's scary. That is scary, because how are you supposed to know when something's going wrong if you don't know what it looks like? So I know me personally, I felt some type of way. To lock her door. She decided to lock the door yesterday, and I'm like, because I'm not used to her locking her door. And to me, that was a flag of, sis, was you gonna knock before you went in her room? Because the thing is, it's not like she's out here having sex with other human beings. But if she wants to touch herself and figure out what's going on, that's his business. Just because she's a kid, she's still living her life and she's still trying to figure out life. Now, maybe everybody not going to agree with me on that, and that's okay.
And they don't have to.
They don't have to, but that's just how I believe. Letting my child, like, I would prefer that you are doing that behind closed doors, and that you should be doing that behind closed doors. versus a parent who's like, don't touch yourself. Don't you do that. Like, if Zoe running around naked, she touch a little thing, I'm not smacking her hand away. I'm not doing it. I'm just like, whoa, sis, chill. Okay, hold on. Let me put a diaper on you. We all right here. You know, like you ain't because
I ain't gonna
you
lie. The
don't want
first
to.
time I caught Markel touching himself, I was like, wait a minute, this is a little bit too much, bro. What you doing? And I was stunned, appalled, and I was like, yeah, this is not okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so wait. So should I let Jeremy lotion himself up from now on because I wasn't sure? Yeah, I mean, I'm not no parental expert, but I feel like 100% he should have the ability to do that on his own. If they know to, boom, once they are to the age that they're able to do that, and you go, once they get out the shower, you close that door, you let them do what they're do. They come out and then you do a quick assessment. Okay, did you wash your underarms? Did you wash, you know what I'm saying? And if, just ask them, hey, do you feel you fresh, you clean, go about your business now, take a look at them, make sure they ain't ashy. But what I'm not going to do is go in the shower with you at 11 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, and watch you wash up, because you are old enough that I should taught you what to do. You should know what to do from here on out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, and then what if you in the shower and you like, okay, I want to touch myself. Okay, what's so wrong with that? Like, they are a child, and you don't want them active, but you also don't want to have them where they don't feel comfortable coming to talk to their parent about sex, because they talk to they friends, and you know what they friends know,
and you don't know what's going on in their friend's household.
and the friends know nothing.
When their friends will talk to them.
Oh my God, she's talking about to give him his own bottle to take to his room.
She goes so fucking far. I got to use the bathroom. I will be
okay.
Right
okay. Giving him his own bottle to take to his room. I do feel like maybe you should have a conversation with him, because that's like opening up the dialogue of, you don't have to go too far in depth with it. Saying, hey, I know, because you don't have the conversation based on their age and their maturity level. Obviously, you don't go talking to no 3-year-old about, well, hey, if you want to touch yourself, here's some lotion. But you do want to have a conversation depending on the maturity level to say, hey, if you ever at least exposing them to mommy daddy time, door closed, those basics, then progressing into, if you ever want your door closed and that's what you're doing in your room, you close your door, and when you know what I'm saying, I will knock before I enter, because you don't want to invade their privacy. But they also don't, a lot of kids don't want to have a conversation with mom and dad because of, so they're just like sneaking around, and then what kind of behavior you're encouraging. Since they have to sneak to touch themselves, they have to sneak to get some action, and they sneak in without protection, and they sneak in with people that they shouldn't be, and then it just continue to be a secretive relationship, and I don't want that with my kids.
So that was going to be my next question, like with you, and since Jaleesa on here commenting, so how do you guys feel about dating?
Dating.
Oh
wait, hold on. Wait, but hold on with that. I forgot, somebody just commented. I'm not even checking the comments. I got to do better. I always teach my kids, even though they are still small, but I always tell them if they are uncomfortable with any situation, I always want that open dialogue with my kids, and that was from Nakia.
Yes, that's what
being small doesn't mean anything. Like, your words have power, and you have power, because a lot of children don't feel like they have that power. When you tell a kid, stay in a kid's place, speak when spoken to, you're taking away their power. You're taking away their power to be able to talk to you. So yes, Nikki, I 100% agree. But go ahead, you were going to say. I'm sorry, I just had to acknowledge that comment.
No, I was talking about, like, when it comes to the dating situation, like, when you're allowing them to be that at home, what happens when it goes outside of the home?
Okay. You got me. No, I'm joking. So I've thought about this. Right? So this is because parenting, nobody gives us a book. We're all just
winging it.
We winging it. We testing things and see if it works. Okay? We testing it and seeing if it works. My parents, like literally, the firstborn is like the test dummy. I hate that, but that's the truth.
But one, don't call them children like that.
Listen, I was the firstborn. I was definitely the test subject. And so, but that's just the reality of it. So me allowing Ayana to have that safe space in her room to, you know what I'm saying, if she decides she wants to touch herself, if she wants to, you know what I'm saying, explore herself, get a mirror, look at it, see what's going on down there, you know, as well, just like you mentioned earlier for our children. Exactly. Yeah, yes. Definitely. We're all new to it. Definitely. This is all new.
Definitely.
But if she wants to look at herself, and if I'm okay with that, and if I'm encouraging her to get a mirror and look at that thing, then I know when she gets to the age, because we had a conversation about that. I asked her, well, what on the podcast, you can check episode 1. Okay. I asked her, what age do you feel like is appropriate to date? And she said, well, it depends on what their age is and their maturity level. Literally what she said. And I quote. And I feel like that's important because depending upon their maturity level, maybe they're ready to date outside the home. If I can't trust you to do right in home, and I can't trust you honest with me, I can't trust you to date yet. Now, once you are being honest with me, and once you are understanding that I am here to guide you, not to, because that's where as parents we get it so messed up. We want to judge. No, you shouldn't be touching yourself. Well, first of all, Bernice, why don't you touch yourself? You touch yourself? Okay, so why can't they? They human. Don't they got?
But that comes from, all right, and a lot of parents are that way because it came from them not being correctly. Yep, the previous generations. And I know it's like it's a lot of controversy, right? We are raising our children differently than the way they used to raise us. But a lot of times y'all scared us. Y'all made us feel unprotected. Y'all made us unheard. We were in unsafe communication spaces. Like a lot of that happened. And unfortunately, a lot of our generation isn't able to say that or acknowledge that.
The thing is, they'll never apologize for it, even if you bring it up to them.
Yep, and won't. And it's like, okay.
So wait. So Gigi said, I was told children have feelings at the moment they are born. So what's funny is, okay, I love when it comes to certain topics, I can apply my nursing knowledge. So what's funny is, yes, Gigi, that is 100% true. So children, so they go through developmental stages. We all go through developmental stages. And there's 2 sets, I believe. There's Erickson's, and then there this man's name. I pronounce it Piaget. It might be Pi. It's Piaget. Look it up. Okay, because when I'm reading, I just be boop boop. I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna pronounce it how I want to until somebody tell me otherwise. Okay, because I'm struggling in nursing school. Anyway, so they say that we go through these developmental stages, and basically what happens, we go from exploring ourselves sexually. So a baby, when you first see them digging in their diaper, their hand in their diaper, you don't want to discourage that, because eventually that's going to continue. That's how babies and toddlers explore. They touch things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so boring. Hey, what's this? And when they get to the age where they start asking you, well, if they have a brother, why does Bryson have that and I have this?
Oh, explain it to him. Ask that question often.
Alasia, and blankets. Oh my gosh. Okay. So maybe we should have a conversation with her about humping her bears and blankets in private because she should not be humping.
I'm sick of you. I'm sick. Who? Somebody else just joined.
Oh my god. She should not be humping the bears and blankets in public because what you don't
But
you don't want her to do it in front of a adult. Like I think for me, because I just want Ayana to know boundaries. I think for me, when it comes to sexuality and having kids, I want my children to know that there are boundaries. I want Zoe to know it's okay for you to touch yourself, but it's not okay without your permission. And that is what and then, but the thing is, this is that motherfucking gray area where I'm still trying to figure it out. And maybe someone out there that watches this video or somebody that's listening to this can help me understand this part. How do you explain to them you are okay to touch your own self, but whoever wants to touch you has to ask permission, but they should not be asking permission until you're old enough to make that decision? How do because I don't want my 14 because I remember being 15, 16, and I would have 40-year-old men trying to, you know what I'm saying, trying to get me in their domain. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. 18 now. What's up, daddy? Granddaddy, what's up? I know I'm sick in the head. But what I'm saying is
the whole topic is a gray area.
Gray as ever, because at 18, it's no reason why you should be.
It's because I feel like it's a gray area because it's like, okay, I'm allowing you to explore yourself.
Mm-hmm. Where do I draw the line?
But I don't want you. Oh, that triggered. Oh,
I don't. And then it's also telling them they can't.
Now, because when I think about it, I just don't want. I don't want you to be vulnerable
to other people, like anybody exploiting.
And it's like, okay, so if I'm teaching my kid this or telling my kid that it's okay now, am I open up this vulnerability for them? Am I like, I don't, kids know yes and no, but
they don't understand. They don't understand.
No, or it's
like, okay, yes, it's okay in this situation, but it's not okay in this. Because then at that point, you can confuse them. So I think it's just all about that maturity level, like at Ayana's age, I can explain that to her. It's okay for you to touch yourself, but it's not okay for anybody else to touch you. And at the age that you are, there should be no one touching you. Because right now, you are still a child. And as a child, no one should be touching you. No one should be touching a child. Up until you are of age, then at that point, you can make your decisions for yourself. Because you are an adult.
I'm on the fence with this one, Taylor. I'm sorry.
I know. Me too, girl.
I'm on the fence with this one. I'm on the fence with this one.
And then
yeah, I'm on the fence with this. It's like, at first I was okay with what you were saying.
But then when I mentioned that little gray area, you like,
yeah, I was like, wait a minute, because even though I may feel like at 4 years old you're mature enough.
Mm-hmm. But see, okay, so 4-year-old, let's say 4, right? I feel like
the way that you saying 4 because I have a 4-year-old, so right. I'm saying 4 because I have a 4-year-old,
right? And you want to understand it at this age.
I can allow him to explore himself, but then what happens when
somebody else says, "Oh, I can do that to you. I can make you feel good,"
or somebody he trusts.
Try to touch him there. So that's what I'm saying. So like for me, at 4, what I try to do is I try to think back about where was I at mentally at that age, because you got to understand your child is a part of you, right? So at 4, I wasn't really, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't really touching myself, and if I was not considering anybody else should be touching me down there.
He put his hand down there from time to time, but
and that's okay.
Real, sat there.
Yeah, but we don't know, because when he in his room, you never know. He might be when he in his room sleep. He might be like, That ain't our business. And when it becomes our business is when, and this is why I say, so at the age of 4.
But then what happens when you have someone around?
Mm-hmm.
So, say for instance, me and you, we are sharing this information of what we allow our child to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
and then
is
someone hears
able
it.
to take advantage of what we're talking
of our parenting style. So, okay.
And take advantage of the situation.
At 4 years old, and you have to take in consideration your child, because Markel is so smart.
He's very smart, but he's very smart, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't be taken advantage of. So
that's what I'm saying. If you explain to him,
kid credit where credit is due. He's very intelligent, but I am not saying that somebody cannot overpower his mind. I'm not going to say that.
No, he's
there are people out here who will use what they know to take advantage.
Remember how we were trust? That's where you got to have trust in your. I don't let my kid tonight nowhere. I'm not gonna lie, unless it's somebody I truly trust. Ayana has spent the night at your house before. Zoe has never spent the night away from the home, except for when me and Simon went on our honeymoon. She was with Kayla, my best friend, with her mom, and my little sister, because I consider them all to be my sisters and my mom. You know, she was with them, and Ayana was with him, and I felt comfortable with that. And she was with my sister partially too. She spent the night over there, and I'm comfortable with that because I'm comfortable and I can trust them. Now, that's not to say I trust my kids with all my family, because I don't.
Let me tell you something. So this is now this can go either way. It can go back and forth. We can do this all day. Okay, so you trust them. You know where you left your child. It's okay what happens if somebody else stop over there and they invite that person in. All right. Now, not saying that they're not going to pay attention to your child, but what happens in that just spare moment? Because sometimes there are gaps. There have been plenty of people who have left their children in places that I trusted this person to take care of my child, and just in a split second, one person walked through that door and changed that whole situation.
That is so true. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick little story.
It happens.
I want to give you a quick little story. So, okay, so as a child, let's say a hypothetical situation. Let's say there's a child, and then you drop them off at your cousin's house. You trust your cousin. You know your cousin would never. They consider their child to be just as crucial to them as to you. They consider this to be like their. Because there's some cousins out here that's strong like that. You know, I got cousins like that.
I got a
whole crew of cousins like that. You feel me? But the thing is with that, what if your female cousin has her friend and she watching your baby, and she like, hey, little Johnny, this is my friend, Demetrius. He'll only be here for a few hours. You know, I'm just gonna, say y'all in the living room watching Netflix, y'all Netflix and chilling, watching TV, you fall asleep, right? Something happens to your child, right? And now you have that guilt of, okay, so let me go back. Child. Feel so confident in allowing my child to sexually explore themselves is because the beautiful thing about me being open with them about sex is that they're going to be open back. Because just because I'm allowing them to explore does not mean it's going to stop them from being violated. What it does do is that it allows them to communicate with me about it because they're comfortable. They're not like, oh, I'm not supposed to talk about sex. I'm not supposed to know what sex is.
So
you know what I'm
saying?
It
goes hand in hand with dialogue, though. So making sure that open dialogue there. So not only am I allowing you to explore yourself, but I'm also keeping that open dialogue with you. So you was coming from a different aspect where you was like, oh, I'm gonna let my kid explore, and I'm like, well, I keep this open dialogue with my kid. Like, hey, look, this is how I go. But both of them work hand in hand. Because if I allow you to explore yourself and then we have this open dialogue, anything that happens to you, you're going to be able to communicate to me.
You can't have one without the other.
Right.
You can't have one
Hey,
without the
look,
other. You because if you have like the dialogue and you talking to them, it's like, okay, well, we talk about it, but I don't make them feel comfortable about anything sex related. You know,
right.
because your actions and your words are two different things. I can talk to you all day about if something happened to you, but then I'm bashing you over the head with you shouldn't be touching yourself.
Right.
So why should I feel comfortable? You ain't really open. You ain't really down for with the cause. You're not here for me to really talk to. The parents out here. It's
Right.
also if I don't care what you're doing. You know what I'm saying. I'm like, oh, you can touch yourself, whatever. But then I'm not talking to you about what that is, what your vagina is, what your penis is. If I'm not talking to you about those things, then I'm kind of leaving you to figure it out for yourself. So it's like have that. You know what I'm saying. You got to have the communication and that open dialogue along with the action to back it up.
But that's why I like talking to other parents because there's things that each and every parent can
Gray
teach them.
areas.
There is something that each and every parent can teach somebody else. I may not always understand exactly where you're coming from, but when you break it down to me and I break down to you what I'm saying and we put it all together, we can create a bigger world, a better
Yeah.
world, a
With
safer
better
world for our
parenting.
kids. Like I am open to anybody teaching me and showing me how to be a parent. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or opening
Or
up my
giving
world,
advice.
expand my mind. Because maybe
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the way that you think, but
Yeah.
talk to me so that I
Wow. Yeah.
can be able to expand that and I
Yeah.
can be able to, but also take what I'm telling you too. Like,
Facts.
okay, I gotta listen to you too because maybe you're able to teach me something. I am
Yeah.
so open with the world of parenting. Open
Mm-hmm.
with the world of parenting. I love it.
Yeah. I love parenting. I really do. But on the flip side, it can also be because we don't know what we're doing, we make mistakes. But I think it goes back to that whole thing of acknowledging our mistakes, you know, and acknowledging what we went wrong. But while we are on the topic of, I wanted to ask you about a very sensitive topic. How did you have a conversation with Markel about everything that transpired with your brother and, you know, with like just with everything that's been transpiring? How are you? And you don't have to tell with everyone if you don't want to, but dealing with grief, how do you have that conversation with your children about grief?
So I'm still learning how to do that. That is one of the things that is probably the hardest part about parenting is talking to him about that. Because one of the things that Markel does is that he asks me daily, or no, he doesn't ask me. What he does is he brings his brothers up, and he always talk about them. Like Marquise, he never got to meet, so he don't. He only knows Marquise because it's something that I talked to him about.
And you make him aware
Makari,
that he had an older brother.
right? So with Makari, he always bring up Makari.
Because
He's like, oh, yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is like he always tell me like, "Mommy, I just want my little brother to come home. He's still at the doctor, mommy. He coming home." And it's like, okay, so oh, you gonna do
oh,
it?
don't cry. Don't
I'm
cry.
not.
I'm sorry.
So
Okay.
that is one.
Oh, hold on. Let me just say that it's okay to cry. That first of all, because you know when you were going through everything you were going through, I'm 12 months pregnant, standing outside the house telling you it's okay to cry. You don't have to be strong. You know, that's like the biggest thing. But yeah, like he's saying so when he's saying to you, Mommy, when is Makari coming home? Where he at? He's still at the doctor? What is your response? Like how do you help him with that grief?
Um. So the again, it's something I'm still working through. Um. So when we go outside, I always tell him like, look up to the sky. Your brother's up there, and he be like, "Mommy, I want to go to the sky." And I'm like, "Yeah, nigga, no, you not." um, that's just my little joke to make me smile through it. But
Mm-hmm.
I talk to him about angels. I talk to him about how there is protectors over him. I
Mm-hmm.
try to make him feel comfortable in it.
With what
So like,
happened.
there's a pillow we keep around the house, and he's pillow and I want to sleep with it tonight. Or he'll get a new teddy bear and he'll be like, "This is my brother's teddy bear." And I'm like, "Okay, it's your brother's teddy bear." And he'll want to sleep with it. I make him feel comfortable with the situation. I don't try to feel bad or that something bad happened, or he's
So
no
it's not
longer.
about what happened. It's more about embracing moving forward.
Yeah, it's about, for me, it's about embracing the fact that, okay, a situation occurred. You knew you had a little brother. You miss your little brother. And he tells me often, like, Mom, I miss my little brother. And I'm like, I miss him too. We can miss him together. So then he'll go
Yeah.
get it. He'll go get his little brother pillow, and we'll lay on it together. And we'll be like, okay, cuddle time. You, me, and my little brother. That's how we do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we incorporate his little brother into our life. But one of the other things that he's done is, because I've talked to him about his older brother, he not only incorporates his little brother, but he incorporates his big brother. And as long as we can make that safe space and that comfortable space for him to embrace everything, I think we're gonna be okay.
Yeah. Y'all gonna be good, basically.
Yeah. Like, it may not
So,
always.
and I also just want for the people who do watch and listen to this podcast to know that so Queen has 3 children. She has three sons. She has all boys. She's a boy mom. Hashtag boy
And
mom.
you are welcome to my story.
I'm not gonna I'm gonna allow you, I'm gonna let you tell it because I can't tell a story that I was not a part of. I was like a extra in the movie, but I wasn't the star character. So if you would you don't have to tell all of the, like I said, specifics of everything, but whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm just gonna give them a little snapshot, and then you can go into detail as much as you would like. But so we had 3 children. She has 3 sons, and unfortunately 2 of them did pass away. And the one that is currently not home, out living his best life,
Living his
he's
life.
living his best life, is my godson, Markel. And when she's referring to Markel sleeping with brother's pillow, she's referring to the child. Me and her were pregnant around the same time. And how old would Makari have been currently if he had lived?
He would have
How
been
much?
turning to July
To
28th.
July, yeah, because he was 2 months older than
Older than
Zoe.
Zoe.
Yeah, okay. So that is just my little summary of it. But Kui, if you would like, you can go into detail about it. And I'm still listening, but I'm gonna turn my camera off and I'm gonna allow them to truly listen to you. And this is like your platform for you.
All right. So 2013, I had my first son, and he was born January 9th of 2013. He unexpectedly passed away on June 9th, 2013 of cardiomyopathy. I had Markel, who is my in 2018. In 2021, I had my third son. At 3 weeks old, he unexpectedly passed away. Been through a lot of things, but making the best out of my situation. And at this moment, that's all the detail that I want to give.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So you've experienced a lot of grief. I know you recently just lost your brother. And that was an
That
additional
too.
grief. That was
Recently lost
additional.
a little brother.
Recently lost your little brother.
November of 2022, I lost my little brother.
So it's been for you and Markel. And you've dealt with a lot of grief. You've been surrounded by a lot of obstacles that you and your son has had to overcome. What been through is your piece of advice for women, men out there, because even though you did experience a lot of loss, there are men out here as well, not just women, that experience a lot of loss. So for those who may experience loss, what is your advice to those people?
Faith, faith. My faith has kept me. Like my first one, I definitely want to give up. And then Markel came along, and it was like it was that peace that I needed. But then Makari happened, and I didn't know. Like I questioned it. I didn't know what I was doing, but I couldn't give up. And I don't know if it was Markel or if it was me that I wanted more. Like I don't know. I just didn't want to lose myself again. Um, things happen. Life happens. Struggles happen. Grief happens. But it's not anything that we aren't capable of making it through. There is a community, a support system. You know, when I first started going through this, a lot of times I looked at it like, oh my God, everybody was there the moment that it happened up until the funeral, and then everybody went away after that.
Do you feel
And I
like that
had to
happened
figure,
every time?
yes, and I just had to figure it out. But I didn't give up because I couldn't give up on me. It wasn't even about my living baby. It was like not giving up on me. I wanted to live. And I definitely had to learn how to love myself all over again. One of the biggest struggles. One of the biggest struggles. Um, but I found a lot of peace in listening to other people's stories because everybody has a situation. And just because life gets rough for you doesn't mean that there isn't somebody else who has a rough life too. And no matter how rough their life is or what their situation is, their worst is their worst and yours is yours. But together, y'all can combine that and y'all can become everything in this world. I swear, I've joined so many groups where I just listen to people's stories, and I'm just thankful to be able to hear their stories and to be thankful that they still making it. Not just me, but they still making it. And that
So
has given me so much motivation is that I can still make it. How dare I give up? How dare
so
I?
you're basically saying that for the people out there that may experience grief, it's all about finding community, safe space, and others to help you through your grief.
Yep.
And also that balance of loving yourself enough to get through that grief. So within yourself, but also finding strength in others. Because we often want to tell people, you could do it. I don't need nobody. I'm an independent woman. I don't need nobody. Right? But what if you do need people? What if
I'm
you're
for the
going through something
streets.
that you need people?
I'm for the streets, baby.
What?
I ain't mean it like that. But
You for
I'm
the
for
who?
the streets.
Yeah, I mean, cause like it's like we want to say I'm an independent woman, I don't need nobody, but like you push all these people away. But what's gonna happen when you do need somebody? You go through something that you do need somebody to talk about, but you pushed everybody away because you're so independent. So now you're this high pedestal of not needing anybody, and now you need somebody, but you don't feel comfortable to talk to anybody.
But see, the difference that I found in what I needed, it wasn't the people that I surrounded myself with every day. It was the people that I got to hear their stories. I got to hear what they went through. I got to talk to them. I got to, communicate with them. And even though our situations was different, it was so much hurt. It was so much pain there. It was so much growth. It was so much I needed you. You needed me. I didn't know you, but maybe I needed a hug from you today.
And maybe you needed that hug from me. So what was who? You don't have to give me all of the information. No, but what was something or some a story or their story that someone told you that helped you get through all of that grief that you had to go through?
I don't have one to pinpoint out because I've heard so many.
Mm-hmm. These experiences were found through the communities that you searched out.
I went and
And did
talked
you?
to. So one of the things that I did and I didn't like about going through my grief is that I went to go talk to a therapist. Talking to this therapist, he never made me feel comfortable. He didn't
Okay,
make me feel
so
comfortable.
not to make it about this, but it was a male.
It was a male.
And was it a black male?
Yes.
Makes sense. Doesn't even matter their race, honestly, because when
But
people
he
see a
made
black
me feel
woman,
the most uncomfortable that I have ever felt through any of my grief. Like I went
what
through
about experience made you feel uncomfortable?
because he made me feel like, okay, you've been through this. Why you ain't pick yourself back up? And it was like, damn, how could you? I saw him 3 times. And the third time, I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. He tried to give me antidepressants. He tried to put me on all this medication. And I was like, I won't take that. Because the only thing that I'm trying to talk to you about is my hurt and my pain right now. And he could not acknowledge that. He made me feel the most
Wrong
uncomfortable that I've
for
ever
going
felt.
through what you
I
were
felt
feeling.
more uncomfortable talking to him than I felt going through my own situation. And that was not okay. You can't make me feel bad that he made me feel bad that my baby was gone. And it was like, don't make me feel bad. Don't do that. The only thing I need to do is talk to you and tell you how I feel. And you couldn't even make me feel comfortable in that. And I never went back. I didn't take none of his medication or anything. And let me tell you one thing that I've realized. I grew better.
And do you feel like that was him? Like, do you feel like at that time what you really needed was just to be able to talk to a professional about what you were going through with trying to throw meds down your throat? Because I've realized that a lot of times happens. Because they expect it's this whole stigma of as a black woman, you're strong. It's a whole thing in the medical actually. That a lot of times as black women, our pain as painful as it is because we carry it so well. But it's like, baby, I carry it so well because it's it this way. But I'm looking like this. I'm talking like this. I'm you good, but realistically, I'm not good. You know. But
Mm.
if you take the time, I'm not okay. You'll know I'm not okay. And what I don't need is for you to throw meds down my throat. I need you to listen. I need you to be present for me. You know. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, like I said, we don't have that space. You know, because it's also that stigma against mental health, you know, like you don't certain family members, certain things you don't want to talk to them about, oh, I'm going to go see a therapist. Because they're gonna be like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like something's wrong in a bad way. But it's like, what if I just like talking to a therapist? Like getting another perspective
And that's the
from a
scariest thing about anything is like with my first kid, I took some pills and I ended up in a mental institute or whatever. And it was like after that, the concern of if I was gonna do it again. And when I lost my
what
second baby, it was
mhm.
the concern of she gonna do it again. You okay? You sure? And it was like I think I'm okay. I just need to really just vent. You know what I'm saying? Not that I wanted to hurt or harm myself, but I needed to vent.
So on Facebook, someone says, I'm here because I feel bad. Why wouldn't you help me navigate? Give me tools to get through this instead of what I feel. Please and thank you. Exactly. The nail on the head right there.
Yep.
Because, and that's why I started this podcast, you know, to say, I'm not here to judge what you're going through, you know, I'm here to and ask you questions. Because by me listening and asking questions, you talk more about it, so you can talk yourself through it. I don't have to give you advice,
And then you may be teaching, and I may be learning.
and I may be learning by offering a safe space, because I can say for sure today so far I've learned from you that sometimes going through grief, they don't need you to say anything. They just need you to listen. Because when you went to that therapist and you were trying to talk to him and he was trying to give you all this advice, good. Oh, here's some medication. This will help you feel better. Don't try to fix me. Don't fix me. Just listen. Help me. And that's why I'm not gonna lie, and this is a lot of people gonna be ready to tussle with me over this too. My only therapist that I go to is African American woman. And that's not discrimination. That's because I know she's going to understand my spectrum of what I go through better than anybody else on this planet. Nobody's going to understand what I go through like as an African American woman, like an African American woman will. As an individual cannot acknowledge that, you're a part of the problem. You're one of the ones I will not talk to anyway. Because I'm not saying I only talk to African American women about my problems. I'll talk to a man. I'll talk to a pink man, a red man, a blue man, a yellow man. I don't care. But I'm not going to talk to you if I don't think you're going to actually embrace where I'm coming from. And him being a man, African American man at that, did not embrace where you were coming from. He was trying to fix you because me ain't going to fix it mode, you know?
Mm.
But it's like, what if I don't want you to fix me? What if I'm just here to talk? Just listen to me. That's all I want.
And I didn't want to be fixed. I just wanted to navigate
Through it.
it. I wanted to be okay. I wanted to be smooth. I wanted to love, and I wanted to accept. I didn't want to have to feel like, oh, you know, I just didn't want that. And I'm grateful that I was strong enough to say no, this is not what I want. If you want to say call
Yeah.
me strong, say that I was strong enough to walk away from that where nobody was you wouldn't put me in that situation. You wasn't forcing me down my throat. You wasn't telling me
I
that this is
still
the only
have a
way that
choice.
I can feel. If you call me strong, say that I was strong enough to do it.
Yeah. Versus you're strong. You should be able to get through this. So get through it. That's insane. I hate that that happened to you. But I'm so happy that you have found comfort and you found a stable place in where you are now and in taking it a day at a time.
One day at a time, I tell you.
One day at a time.
Broken, not destroyed.
And so then I think like I just have one last question for you. If you had to go through the grief all over again, what would you do different? Or would you do anything different about your grief process?
No,
You would just go through it exactly like you went through it.
I think my grief has made me stronger than I could ever be, or I could have ever imagined my life. I think grief is teaching me, it's balancing me, it's restoring faith in me. My grief, it is me, and I wouldn't choose anybody else but me. So, yeah.
Okay. I love that. I love that you've been through everything you have. You still are a journey. Okay, I lied. I got one more thing to ask you. I'll be lying.
You always do.
No, but for so this is like the last one. I promise you. If a woman, so say a woman right now is listening to this podcast and she just lost her baby. She just lost her baby. She just lost a man, and she just lost a family member. What would you say to her? What would you say to you if you were going when you were going through everything that you went through? What would you say to you? And what would you say to that woman?
I would hug her. Because what do you say to somebody like that? Everybody got a word, but it's not comforting because it doesn't change it. It does not change the situation. And I would just hug her and let her know that, hey, my shoulder is here. My heart is here. My soul is here. My spirit is here with you. People say all day long, oh, I'm praying for you. My condolences, my condolences. But that don't change the situation. It don't change what my heart feel. It don't change how my heart hug me. I don't need you to say anything. And sometimes people don't understand it about grief. I don't need you to say anything. Hug me. Stand there. Listen to me. You ain't
In
gotta say
silence.
nothing.
In silence, yes or no?
In silence. You don't gotta say nothing. I can encourage you all day, but it's not gonna change it. I know how many times people I've heard the encouraging words and I've accepted it, but it didn't change the fact that here we are almost 2 years later and I'm still sitting here crying by myself. And where the encouragement at? Where those condolences? They still there? I will hug her.
And if in this situation she's listening to this podcast, what would you say to her? Because obviously, message to yourself, you would just yourself because you're present in that moment. But what if you are talking to someone that doesn't have you, Aquila, right there to hug her? What would you say to her, or what could you say to her? Because you can't be there, right? Because she's listening to our podcast right now. What do you say to her to make her? Because, like you said, you can't make her feel better about what she's going through. What could you say to at least, you know, soften
One day at a
what she's
time.
feeling, one day at a time?
One day at a time. Take your time. And it's okay to grieve. It's okay to accept the fact that this is happening. It's okay to accept the fact that some days gonna be good, some days gonna be bad. And it's okay that it's okay. Even when it's not okay. It's okay.
It's okay to not be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. Perfect wording.
I love it. I think that's what I'm going to name this episode. It's okay to not be okay. It's like the perfect title. So there we have it. Okay, this was good. This was good, girl. This was a good. Okay, because I feel like this is gonna touch someone. And even if it's not this year, that it touches someone, because I've learned those content. Sometimes I don't get reactions to like a year later, and people, girl, I listened to your video, and I just want to say thank you. I'm like, what video? I don't even know what you're talking about, sis.
And it's
But
my
even
first
if
time on podcast. Look at y'all.
you, for real, you just touched someone. You're gonna touch and help somebody heal, and does reach out to me because they need a space or they want to talk to you. I am probably going to be hitting you up like, hey, I was talking to this young lady. She really needs somebody to talk to, you know, because a lot of times it's hard to go through something and go through something with someone that's never been through what you've been through. Because I remember
And
when
then
you lost.
this kind of platform was like just it. It's a lot to try to explain that, or that's touching on my vulnerability.
And I
So
appreciate you for being vulnerable. Yeah, because like somebody out there couldn't do this. They couldn't be vulnerable like this. And because they couldn't be vulnerable like that, they didn't know what to do. Out there that went through what you went through, and because you be vulnerable and tell someone I'm not okay, or tell somebody I need to talk about this, they didn't make it to. And that's why I'm doing this podcast for the people that's going through some shit that they can't handle, and they somebody else is going through it and they know that they're not alone. You know that somebody cares for them and wants them to be good, which is why I named it You Good, because it's all about mental health for me, baby. You can beat him, slap the bitch up, pull the gun out on a pistol whipper, and now you doing life in jail. And guess what? I'm gonna try to find somebody else that went through what you went through, so you know you didn't go through it alone. So I hope whoever listens to this podcast is not expecting it to always be peaches and cream, beautiful, that did beautiful things or went through terrible experiences. No, just know it's gonna be some people that's fucked up too, because the people that's fucked up, because it's a lot of fucked up people out in this world, and I want you to know you're not the only fucked up individual.
We some fucked up people.
So,
we some fucked up people.
We a little mentally disturbed,
And it's all right,
and it's all right.
Good.
And we're gonna be good. So the last comment was, we see the strength and the vulnerability. It gives us hope and strengthens my faith. So you touching people already. And what's crazy is you touching your own friends. You are strength for your friends. So thank you, Quee, for coming on You Good. Thank you for always being vulnerable, honest with me, being a great friend, being a great mother to your son, and being what all of us need, a little shining light in whatever we're going through. So I love you so much, sister girl.
I love you, friend.
So much. I'm gonna be calling you after this. Oh my god, because it is 9:00. Okay, love you.
Yeah, I was supposed to pick him up an hour ago.
Okay. Okay, just go ahead and hop off. I'll end the
all right. Love y'all. I
love you.
Fun and enjoyed it.
And just like that, you guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it for listening to this, and I hope that this helps someone. I hope that this truly aids someone in their journey. I hope that by me doing this podcast and you hearing Aquila's story, that you find safety in this, you find comfort. And if you need anything, I'm here as always. I'm always here to make sure you're good. And if this content was good for you, if it was powerful, if it helped you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube. You can get notifications when I post podcasts. Tune in every week. I'm trying to find people for stories and for information to help whoever needs help out there. If you ever want to come on and you want to talk about what you've experienced, I'm here to listen. I don't care who you are. If you don't feel comfortable having on here, if you don't want people to know who you are, I have tools at my disposal to hide who you are, to give you confidentiality and privacy. So what? And as I said, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and hey, make sure you're good this week, you guys. We're gonna start this week off powerful. We're gonna start this week off with being vulnerable with the people that are closest to us, because if you're vulnerable with the people that are closer to you, then you are not alone, and you will never feel alone. And if you don't have people close to you where you can be vulnerable, you have me. I'm here. So thank you guys, and I'm out of here.